See if it actually works this week. All right. We are live. Welcome back to the WMA Scene Report weekly live show. This channel where we go over latest in fight results, news, preview upcoming fights, and everything else. Got a little subject to talk about. We also have some very unfortunate news that we'll finish out the event with, the show with. First up, I like to start with fight results. Friday night, Combate Americas held their 44th event in Mexicali, Mexico. They had a couple of ladies' fights. At atom weight, Laura Hizar defeated Carla Almaguer via TKO due to punches at 4 minutes and 40 seconds of the second round. Hizar climbed to 2-0. Almaguer fell to 0-1. Always nice to see some atomweight action. And then at strawweight, Yasmin Yaragi defeated Yajiro Romo via unanimous decision. Yaragi climbed to 4-0. Romo fell to 5-4. Unfortunately, the DAZN deal with Combate has fallen off temporarily. According to their CEO, it'll be back by excuse me. Supposed to be back for December for the Copa Combate. Saturday at WWFC 15, that's World Warriors Fighting Championships in Kiev, Ukraine. A couple of ladies fights, 2 ladies title fights. First up, at Atomweight Championship, Aliona Rasokina defeated Elaine Leal via submission due to armbar in the first round. Rasokina climbed to 12-4. Elaine Leal climbed to 7-7. That was one pick I got right. And then in the co-main event for the 115 pounds title, this is a rematch from, I believe, last year. Svetlana Gotsik defeated Magdalena Sormova via submission due to armbar at 3 minutes and 32 seconds of the first round. Gotsik climbed to 13-4. Sormova fell to 9-2. One thing about this fight was that it was, like I said, it was a rematch from last year, where Sormova captured the title from Gotsik with, I believe it was a first round armbar. So, nice revenge for Svetlana Gotsik. I had picked Sormova. This was one I had gotten wrong. So, 2 Ukrainians picking up championships in their home country. Saturday at Lights Out Extreme Fighting 3 in Commerce, California, had one ladies fight at flyweight. Invicta veteran Brittany Cloudy defeated Bellator veteran Tiani Vali via submission due to rear naked choke at 2 minutes 4 seconds of the third round. Cloudy climbed to 1-1. Vali fell to 3-2. Hadn't heard about Brittany Cloudy since her debut loss in Bellator last year. Nice to hear some news from her. And then Saturday was the big card, UFC on ESPN Plus number 17, Rodriguez versus Stevens, or UFC Fight Night Mexico City. There was 4 ladies fights. I went over these briefly late Saturday night after they were done. First up at bantamweight, Betch Correia defeated Sajara Eubanks by unanimous decision. I had picked Eubanks. I said it was her fight to lose, and she had a very strong first round, but excuse me. Can't get over this itchy throat. Correia came back in the second and third, took the fight. Eubanks basically blew her wad in the first round, going for the finish late. Almost finished Correia, but you know what? I know one thing. I'm done underestimating Betch Correia. I won't say that I'll definitely pick her in her next fight, but I won't underestimate her. She finds ways to win, against fights she definitely should lose. Sometimes, of course, she brain farts and loses, like her last fight against Irene Aldana. But I said this was Eubanks' fight to lose. I should have given Betchkohea more credit. She actually displays some intelligence in the ring for the most part. She adapts well. She learns to doesn't do so well in the first round, but tends to adapt better, learn from her mistakes, and learns to read her opponent better. So I'm done underestimating her. Next up, Angela Hill defeated Ariana Carnelossi at strawweight via TKO due to doctor stoppage from a cut above the left eyebrow of Carnelossi at 1 minute and 56 seconds of round 3. Very, very nice elbow there from Angela Hill. Look, a downward elbow in the stand-up in the clinch. Before that, Hill was just really outclassing Carnelossi. Now, Carnelossi was a replacement for the original scheduled opponent for Hill, which was Estela Nunes. Nunes got popped by USADA. Carnelossi came in, I think, on less than a month. So we'll see how she does in her next fight. She has a very basic style, though. She's, like I said Saturday night, she's like a budget Andrade. Hill climbed to 10-7. Carnelossi fell to 12-2. That was also Angela Hill's first win by finish in the UFC. Up on the main card at 135 pounds, Irene Aldana defeated Vanessa Melo via unanimous decision. Aldana climbed to 11-5. Melo fell to 10-6. Much like the Hill versus Carnelossi fight, very, very nice technical showing by Aldana, showing what she can do in there against a very late replacement opponent. Melo took the fight on 10 days' notice. I think it was 10 days after Marion Renault had to bow out. And then in the co-main event, Carla Esparza defeated Alexa Grasso at strawweight via majority decision. 2 judges found it for her. 1 judge found it a draw. Esparza climbed to 15-6. Grasso fell to 11-3. Now, I still haven't watched the fight a second time. I'm really behind on getting these fight reviews up, but I thought it could have been a draw, possibly even gone Grasso's way. Happy for Esparza, she got the win. She overcame some serious disadvantages in this fight. Disappointed in Grasso's performance. I'd have been happy with a draw. Both fighters I like. Didn't really want to see either of them lose. All right, so that was the fight results from this past weekend. So let's move on into the news. First up in the news, Deep Jewels announced 4 more fights for their 26th event. It's next month in October. 2 atomweight fights. First up, Suanon Boonsorn, 5-1, taking on Yunha Hong, 3-4. That should be a very nice grappling fight. Boonsorn definitely has an advantage in the stand-up, but she likes to go to the ground, and I think Hong will be a very nice fight for her there. Also at atomweight, John Woon Park, 5-6-1, taking on Emi Sato, 4-3. I think this should be a good fight as well. A minus 49 kilogram catchweight fight, Pan Kai Hui, 5-4, taking on Mizuki Furuse, 6-7. And then at flyweight, Kana Watanabe, 7-0-1, taking on Hyun Khan, who, as far as I can tell, is making her debut. So they finalized the lineup for this entire event. I did a preview video on it. I actually trashed this last fight, this Watanabe fight. I trashed a few fights on this card. But if you want, you can go check it out after the show. Also in the news, former EFC strawweight champion Kiara Penko, who holds a record of 4-1, announced via her social media that she has signed with Bellator MMA. Now, she was the strawweight champion in EFC, but she was very big for strawweight and had a hard time making the weight. Her last fight, she gassed out and lost the title. So now she's moving to Bellator, which means most likely she's moving to flyweight because they don't have a strawweight division. They've had a couple one-off strawweight fights, mostly for Kerry Melendez. So I expect to see Penko in flyweight. And she's, I believe, from Italy, so she'll definitely fit onto their Italy cards. Several notes from Invicta 37. So first off, the main event between Jinyu Fry and Ashley Cummins for the atomweight title, that fight got canceled. Fry had to withdraw due to injury, suffered a nasty cut next to her eye, got some stitches. I think she got hit with an elbow in practice. So unfortunately, the event has lost its title fight, which means that the co-main event between Brogan, Walker Sanchez, and Pearl Gonzalez has been elevated to the main event. Still a good fight. Not what I was hoping for in a main event, but it'll do. And then they announced one last fight at bantamweight between Megan Colley, 0-1, versus Hope Chase, 1-1. Hope Chase is from my hometown of Pittsburgh, well, I don't live in a city. I'm from outside, but you know what I mean. So go Pittsburgh. Next up, Shudo has announced a 7-fight tournament to crown its first super atomweight champion, starting on 24th November. So I'll just go over the notes real quick here from this. I did a full video for the announcement, if you want to go check that out later. But we'll just read these off real quick here. So it's going to be 7 fighters. The weight class is going to be at 110 pounds, which I like. It's right between strawweight and atomweight. So the first round is November 24th. The semifinals are in January, and the finals are in March. Now, they named 3 participants already: Mina Karobi, Tanya Angera, and Yeji Lee. The 4th participant is going to be the winner of Shudo's ongoing Infinity League tournament, which will be decided in November. 3 more fighters will be decided as entrants for the tournament. And then that Infinity League tournament winner, since that ends in November, they're getting the first round bye and will fight in the semis in January. So very much looking forward to that. I love tournaments. I like atomweight and super atomweight. Well, I like super atomweight at 110. I think that's a great idea. And then finally, some news involving UFC Singapore on 26th October. First up, they announced a bantamweight fight between Julia Avila versus Carol Hosa. I think that should be a good striking-oriented fight. And unfortunately, Yan Xiaonan is out of her fight against Ashley Yoder due to a foot injury. Yoder's status on the card is currently unknown, at least as of this morning. I haven't seen any news regarding a replacement yet for her, so we'll have to see. So that is it for the news. Well, there's one final thing, but I'm going to talk about that at the end of the show. Which brings us to the weekly UFC rankings update that I like to call the fuckery. Several changes in the strawweight and bantamweight division after this past weekend's UFC Fight Night Mexico City. First up, in strawweight, Alexa Grasso has moved down 2 spots from number 9 to 11, which means that Marina Rodriguez moved up from 10 to 9 and Calvillo from 11 to 10. To me, this makes no sense. I mean, normally I would understand. You lost, so you get moved down in rankings. However, Grasso lost to someone who was ranked 1 spot above her. So how do you justify moving her down 2 rankings for losing a fight to someone who was higher ranked? I don't know. That's it for strawweight. No changes at flyweight. At bantamweight, Irene Aldana has moved up 1 spot from number 10 to number 9, which means Sarah McMahon drops from 9 to 10. Why is Sarah McMahon still ranked? Okay, I like her, but she hasn't fought in well over a year. More than a year of inactivity should mean removal from all rankings. Period. And then Bethe Correia has moved up 2 spots from 15 all the way up to number 13, which means that Nico Montano dropped from 13 to 14, and Sijara Eubanks dropped from 14 to 15. So that's it for the latest UFC rankings update. Need my drink. I mean, yeah, that's it for the rankings. They're more stupidity, really, is how you explain that. Okay, next up is a segment I like to call Welcome to the Scene. Welcome to Usani98, TR Bart, Fiji Muay Thai, and Kami Truth, some of the newest name subscribers. Guys, welcome to the WMMA scene. Now let's talk about some upcoming fights for this weekend. First up, at Bellator 227, coming from Dublin, Ireland. That's Friday, which means it'll be tape delayed on Paramount. 2 ladies fights, I believe. First up is Camila Rivarola, 2-1-1 versus Danny Nealon at strawweight. Danny Nealon making her pro debut. I don't know either of these, but I'm going to go with the one who's actually had fights. So I'm picking Rivarola to win. And then higher up on the card, Leah McCourt, 2-1, is taking on Carrie Hughes, who is 3-4. That's going to be at featherweight. Looking at the two, breaking down the match. Don't have an age for McCourt. Hughes is 34. Looks like Hughes is also moving up in weight. Her last fight looks like it was around 132, like bantamweight or catch weight. McCourt will be the taller fighter, 5'6" to 5'8". She has a 72-inch reach, McCourt does. I don't have a reach available for Hughes. Now, looking at their recent records, McCourt is definitely less experienced. However, she's coming off 2 straight wins, whereas Hughes is coming off of 3 straight losses, with her most recent fight being a year and 3 months ago. So I got to go with McCourt on this one. I think they're giving her a fight to win in Ireland. She's actually from Northern Ireland, so yeah, they're giving her a win on home soil. Or a winnable fight, I should say. They're giving her a winnable fight. Now, Saturday, UFC has an event in Copenhagen. It'll be on ESPN+. Only 1 ladies fight on this card at the bantamweight division. Nice to see them, the UFC, picking up with the bantamweight fights in a division that was largely inactive outside of the championships for a while. Macy Chiasson, 5-0, taking on Lena, the Elbow Queen Landsberg, 9-4. Landsberg is definitely the older fighter by 9 years, 37 to Chiasson's 28. I didn't realize Landsberg was that old. And then Chiasson will have a height and reach advantage, massive too. 2-inch height advantage, 5'9" to 5'7", but a very sizable reach advantage, 72 inches to Landsberg's 65.5-inch reaches. That's, good Lord, that's 6, 7, 8. That's 8.5-inch reach advantage. If Chiasson wants to and fight smart, man, she could just keep Landsberg on the edge of her jab all night. But let's see, looking at the record, Chiasson's undefeated. Landsberg is coming off a win over Tanya Evinger 3 months back. Before that, she had lost to Anna Kunitskaya, a unanimous decision a little less than a year ago. I'm going to have to go with Macy Chiasson in this. She's just way more physical fighter. She's got the size advantage and reach advantage is going to be ridiculously hard to overcome. She's stronger in the clinch. She's just an all-around more physical fighter. Got to go with Macy Chiasson on this to win this one. And I would not be surprised if it ends inside the distance. Also Saturday in England, Norwich in Norfolk. Contenders, East Anglia is holding Contenders Norwich 27. They're having a flyweight fight between Ewelina Wozniak, 2-0 of Poland, and she's taking on fellow Pole Karolina Wojcik, who is 5-1. Brought up this fight because talked about Wojcik a couple times before. She is the current, I believe, still the current EFC Africa champion. She beat Kiara Penko, who I had mentioned earlier in the news, that just signed with Bellator. Wojcik, they call her the Polish assassin. I think they should call her the Pitbull. I mean, I know that name's overused a lot, but man, she is very action-oriented. She's very fast. I mean, fast little fighter. I'm going with Karolina Wojcik to win. If you want, you should be able to find her last 2 fights on DAZN if you're a subscriber. And if you're watching this show, you probably should be. She lost a split decision to, what's her name? Here, I'll just look it up real quick. Lost a split decision to Cheyenne Vlismas at EFC 74 last October, and then in December came up on very short notice, defeated Kiara Penko via split decision, a much larger Kiara Penko, I should add. And then she recently picked up a win in June in Bellator. But Ewelina Wozniak, don't really know anything about her, so I'm going with Wojcik. Actually, let's look up Wozniak real quick. She has her only 2 fights, both wins, one by submission against a fellow debutante last year in May, and then just in June, she picked up a win via KO or TKO in the first round over Anita Beckus in wherever that event took place. I'm going to stick with Karolina Wojcik on this one. Also Saturday, Bellator, 2 days of Bellator. Bellator 228, their big featherweight tournament event. It does have one ladies fight at strawweight, so a rare Bellator strawweight fight. Boxing, known boxer, and I believe she's either a current or former boxing champ, Ava Knight, is making her pro MMA debut in Bellator, and she is taking on Shannon Galgary, who has a record of 3-3. This is going to be hard to guess. Galgary is coming off a loss 2 months ago. Before that, she had a win via TKO, but had lost 2 straight fights before that. She's 33 years old. Ava Knight is 31. Tapology has Knight's height listed as 5'2", giving her a 2-inch advantage over Galgary, who's listed, or I'm sorry, Knight is listed as 5'4", giving her a 2-inch height advantage over Galgary, who is listed as 5'2". I looked on Knight's social media a little bit. I didn't see like much in the way of MMA training. I just don't know. I'm going to go with Galgary on this one. Now, if Knight wins, cool, good for her. Bellator will have a boxer who wins a fight. The last boxer they had was Heather Hardy. Lost her last fight, and she's done with MMA now. So We'll see what happens with Ava Knight. And then finally, early Sunday morning, should be broadcasting on UFC Fight Pass. We have Pancrase number 308. 3 ladies fights. First one I want to talk about is actually higher up on the card, is a flyweight battle between Mayra Cantuaria, 6-3-1, taking on Takayo Hashi, 16-7-1. Let's see. Hashi's the older fighter, 41, to Cantuaria's 30 years. Cantuaria is also the taller fighter, 5'7" to Hashi's 5'4". Hashi is coming off a loss to City Roca via unanimous decision. Had a win before that over Barbara Osceoli a year ago. And that was her first fight in 4 years. She suffered 2 straight losses before that. Obviously, Cantuaria is a lot more active. Younger fighter. Now, she is less experienced, but I got to go with Cantuaria on this. She's more active. She's younger. She'll probably be faster. So the experience thing, the inexperience rather, shouldn't be too big of a deal. So we'll go with Mayra Cantuaria. And then we have the semifinals of a strawweight tournament to decide the new strawweight Queen of Pancrase. The title was vacated by Viviane Araújo. First fight is going to be between Nori Date, 3-3, taking on the Samoan Korean Hyunji John, coming in with a record of 3-2. John is the older fighter, 25-21 for Date. Date's the taller fighter, 5'3" to 5'1". Now, Date has not fought in 2 years and 10 months, coming off a win over Takako Iizuka at Deep Jewels. Before that, she suffered a unanimous decision loss to Heijin Lin at Road FC. Had a win before that 3 years ago in Deep Jewels. Hyunji John is coming off a loss to Gelly Boulang 4 months ago at URCC. However, before that, she had picked up 3 straight wins over opponents of the same caliber as she is. I'm going to go with Hyunji John. More active fighter. She looks stronger, and frankly, I'll never pick a Team Date fighter to win. Nori Date's actually one of the better Team Date fighters, but I'm just never going to pick a Team Date fighter to win. So, yeah, no way. So, I'll cheer for him, but I'll never pick one to win. Next up, in the other side of the bracket, Emi, the Kamikaze Angel Fujino, 23-11, taking on Edna Oliveira, 8-6-1. Fujino, the older fighter by 9 years, 38-29. Oliveira has a 1-inch height advantage, 5'4" to 5'3". I don't have a reach for Oliveira. Now, looking at their recent records, Oliveira is coming off a win over Evelyn Gomes in Shudo 2 weeks ago. Wow, so she picked up a quick fight in the meantime. Before that, she had lost her last 2. First to Emiko Raiko by a split decision. And then she picked up or lost via submission to Svetlana Gotzik at WWFC 6 months ago. Fujino, on the other hand, is coming off a win over Ksenia Guseva 5 months ago in Pancrase. Before that was the loss to Viviane Araújo due to TKO. Her eye was swollen shut. She couldn't see. But she was on at least a 3-fight win streak before that against mixed competition. Ooh. Man. So I just saw something almost 2 years ago, but Fujino had a win over Eleni Saddlemeyer in Road FC a year and 10 months ago, according to Topology. I was almost about to pick Oliveira. I'm not going to lie. I was almost about to pick Oliveira, but Fujino is still good enough to beat Eleni Saddlemeyer in the last 2 years. Now, Eleni Saddlemeyer is like a journeywoman Brazilian fighter, but there's like a factor to her. If you can beat her, you're a good fighter. Like she basically separates. She's like the ultimate gatekeeper or journeyman fighter. Like you beat her, you're good. You don't beat her, you're not that good. Now, Fujino has always been a middling fighter as well. I mean, she's 25-11 or 23-11, and she mostly loses to decent fighters and mostly gets by on can crushing. But you know what? I'm picking Fujino to win this. And another factor is that I think this whole tournament is set up because they want Emi Fujino as the strawweight queen, especially now that Araujo's gone. So I'm picking Hyunji John and Fujino to win in the semifinals, and then whenever the actual finals take place, I'm definitely going to take Emi Fujino to beat Hyunji John. All right, so that is the upcoming events for this weekend, and I don't think there's any thing else coming up. So for the discussion topic, if you noticed the thumbnail picture before coming in, I want to talk about this article on MMA fighting from the 17th, titled "Joanna Jędrzejczyk on why she turned down Weili Zhang 3 times before title capture. Quote, she needed me." It starts off, Joanna Jędrzejczyk believes a victory over Michelle Waterson on October 12th will be enough to secure her a title shot against Weili Zhang, but she admitted that she turned down 3 offers to fight the Chinese champion before she claimed the strawweight crown. The former champion recalled how she predicted that Zhang would defeat Andrade to claim the title in Shenzhen the day before the main event took place. Quote, the day before this fight happened between Jessica Andrade and Weili Zhang, I said that this fight was going to end in the first round, and I put my money on Zhang, Jędrzejczyk told MMA Fighting's Eurobash podcast. Back to the quote, I know how strong Jessica Andrade is, and I was surprised by how big Weili Zhang is. Jessica Andrade is kind of short, but she's very muscular. She's a big girl for the strawweight division, but Weili Zhang is very strong. She has big guns. When I saw Jessica training ahead of the fight on her social media, I was really not impressed. I was like, oh shit, if she really wants to defend the belt, she should be put in more. I guess she's trying to say be putting in more, but she didn't do that, end quote. Zhang's title shot against Andrade came out of left field for many fans and media members, and Jędrzejczyk admitted that she turned down fight offers for Zhang as she felt it would have sidetracked her from getting her hands back on a championship title she had previously held. Okay, quote, she's good, but the truth is they offered me Weili Zhang 3 times before that fight, and the thing is, she needed me. Okay, she's a champ now, so it might look like she never needed me to become someone. Sometimes people are like, do you know who she is now? Of course I know who she is, but I fight in the octagon, you know? I'm a professional athlete, I'm a businesswoman, and I know who I am. I don't do fights on Twitter. If other fighters call me out, I like it because I know I am in a strong position. Why are they calling me out? Because they know I can bring them to a different level. Maybe they can be lucky and win against former UFC champion, a dominant champion, which I was. That would allow them to get better money, get better exposure. Of course, they offered me Weili Zhang, but my goal was to fight for the belt. I took my spot. Now I'm fighting Waterson, and then I will go for the belt. Slowly, step by step, I will reach my goals and my dreams, she said. The thing is, there is a new UFC Performance Institute in China, so they probably needed a good fight, and they just gave the title fight to this Chinese chick. She won. Good for her. I'm very happy for her. I think she's very strong, she's very dynamic, and she's a good puncher. I hope she's going to be a good champ for the UFC and the division before I face her. The Polish striking Supremo also shared her thoughts on Zhang, claiming that she wasn't as good as when she was champion. In an interview, the newly crowned champion conducted in Abu Dhabi in her capacity as a guest fighter at UFC 242. You all should ask her why she was calling me out, said Young Jacek. These girls think they can talk when they have the strap. They talk whatever shit they want to talk when you were losing. Look at how many of them wanted to call me out when I lost to Rose. They were like, now we can beat Joanna because she lost. When I was a dominant champion, they were trying to get the belt, but nobody could keep the pace with me when they faced me. They can talk whatever they want. I'm too classy and too serious for all that bullshit. Okay, so where to start on this? All right, let's start at the very end when she said, I'm too classy and too serious for all that bullshit. First of all, Joanna, you've never, ever acted in a classy manner. You've been a trash talker. You've always gotten up in fighters' faces. You've trashed every fighter you've ever fought verbally before and after you fought them. So stop acting like you're too classy for bullshit. Okay. Now, she said that Zhang needed her before that. Well, obviously, she admitted Zhang didn't need her. And she said, well, she went down the route of, well, the UFC only gave her the shot because of that new performance center in China, and they wanted her to headline there. Well, guess what? Let's bring the rankings back up and see who was doing what at the time. So, Jessica Andrade was the champ. She had just come off the win over Rose, so we'll get to that in a second. Next up was former champ Rose Namajunas. We don't know what Rose's status is. Everyone believes she's hurt her neck again, so she's out for a while. Tatiana Suarez, out with a neck injury for a while. Nina Ansaroff, just coming off a loss. Joanna admitted to turning down the fight 3 times. Watterson turned down the fight. Gadelia, I believe, was already scheduled to face Calvillo. So they wanted Zhang to fight in China, which made a lot of sense. The only person that was either available and didn't turn down the fight was Jessica Andrade. So she said, sure, I'll take my belt over there and put it on the line. Okay? So there's that. This really just comes across to me as sour grapes by someone who admitted to turning down a fight, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now, I can understand turning down a fight once if it didn't fit what your plans were. But basically, Joanna was just trying to sit out, waiting for her chance to get a title shot. She figured that if Andrade beat Rose, she'd basically be able to slide right in to get a title shot because she was the last fighter to beat Andrade. And she's a previous champion. So, but what Joanna is ignoring is something, okay, Joanna is ignoring the fact that she is now 0-3 in her last 3 title shots. Lost twice at strawweight. One time, first time she got knocked silly and tapped. Second time, lost a split decision that she basically handed to her opponent. And then she moved up to flyweight. Took a free title shot there and then lost that. In the meantime, she won 1 single fight since losing her title. She has 1 win over Tisha Torres, who was like number 6. I don't think was ever ranked higher than 6, maybe 5, but I think 6. So she has 1 win over Torres. Can you really say that you're that close to a title fight? Unless the UFC put it in writing that you're up for a title shot, you're really not that close, okay? You're 0-3 in your last 3 title shots. One of them was a TKO loss. You should have taken the fight. Was it a tough fight? Yes. Was there a lot of risk? Yes. But now you're fighting Michelle Watterson, who is number 7. So you're number 5, currently ranked, about to take on number 7, and you're trying to get it, and you think that's going to line you up for a title fight against a champion who you turned down 3 times previously? I would not be surprised if you are not the next title contender, Joanna. Just would not be surprised. I mean, like I said, 1 time is bad enough. 2 times, 3 times, that's inexcusable. That's just basically saying, hell no, that fight is way too risky for me. You know what? You're trying to get back to that title. You need those risky fights. And frankly, beating a fighter who was on a 19-fight win streak, sure, Zhang wasn't as known at the time, but guess what? A win over a fighter on a 19-fight win streak was a lot better than a win over Michelle Waterson, who's, yes, she's on a 3-fight win streak, but they're all like decisions and they're close fights. So Michelle Waterson might be more popular, but Andrade definitely would have been a more credible, excuse me, not Andrade, Zhang would have been a more credible win, especially if you went to her country and beat her in her home country where she fought most of those 19 fights in that win streak. I just think this is like really sour grapes by Joanna, who for a while pretended not to know who Zhang was. And then now she suddenly knows who she is because she's got that title. And Joanna is thirsty to get that title back. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this whole situation. It was definitely, I don't like to talk about ducking that much, but this was definitely a duck job. Possibly smart career management, but that doesn't make it any less of a duck job. All right, finally, before I go, I went about 10 minutes longer than I normally go. Last bit of sad news. Bellator and LFA veteran Katy Red Dragon Collins has passed away this morning after suffering a brain aneurysm on Friday, 20 September. She had a record of 7-5. Now, there is a GoFundMe link that I will put up in the description of this video after it is finished uploading. The GoFundMe is for her family mounting medical bills and a memorial fund. So I will be putting that in there. I'd like to have a few seconds of silence in memory of Katy Collins. All right, guys. That's it for tonight. You know, real unfortunate news. It sucks to see a fighter go so young. I mean, she was only, what is it, 32 years old. She was on a 3-fight losing streak, but against somewhat decent opponents, at least. She had two wins in Bellator out of her 3 fights. Don't know why they never brought her back. Then she went to LFA for her last 3 fights. So it sucks to see that. Just all around crappy news. But I will put that link to the GoFundMe. It's not run by me. It's run by family and friends, I guess. But I'll put a link to that in the description once this video is done uploading. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Likes are always appreciated. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMAC Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube, and hit that bell for notifications. And we'll see you next time.